Hey, Mama. Welcome to the Mom Walk Collective podcast. I'm Ari.
And I'm Jamie, and we're just two moms trying to navigate motherhood.
Okay, Jamie, for those that don't know the Mom Walk Collective, fill us in.
We are this nationwide, going global movement of moms getting together over a cup of coffee, going for a walk, and just trying to feel related to. And it really came out of a crazy time in my life of me selfishly trying to meet a need of being a new mom. So I was in the thick of postpartum, the crazy hormones. I was like, my milk had just come in and I'm like up and down and craziness. And, I just brought home this human that I'm now supposed to take care of. And I was so desperate for my husband to relate to me. And I just knew, oh my gosh, he'll never be able to relate to me because he's a father and I'll never be able to relate to him as a father. And I had very few friends who were actually mothers at the time. And so I was like, I work in the social media space. I know how to create community. I'm going to make a video, throw it out into the wind, ask any local moms to get a coffee, go for a walk, and see what happens. Little to my surprise, 2 moms showed up at my first one. And I was like, oh my gosh. And Ari, I don't know if you've ever, this is like the funniest feeling ever. It's so nerve wracking. But when you're meeting someone for the first time and you've never actually seen what they look like, and you guys are like in somewhere, and every time someone walks in the door, you're like making eye contact. Like, are they going to make eye contact back? Or like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. You're just like, are you the one? Oh, you're not? Okay. And then you text them like, I'm sitting here in my pink sweatshirt. And then hopefully they come find you.
Yes, exactly. No, and so that's really how this was. I had 2 moms show up and we're making the weird eye contact. Like, are you here for the walk? And I'm like, you got a stroller and a baby. This happens to me every walk. Every mom that walks by, I'm like, are you it? Are you here? But it started out with...
I walk by the other moms on our walk and I'm like, are they part of our walk? If you're not, do you want to join us? You're walking alone? Come on.
Exactly. It's like, hey, what's going on? But yeah, I started, 2 moms showed up to my very first walk. One of them was a police wife, and she had her son during the pandemic. Her husband kept getting exposed to COVID, and she just had to keep going in and out of quarantine majority of her son's life at that point. So this was one of the first times she's like out of the house and was having adult conversations with other moms and meeting other babies. And it was a really big monumental moment for her. And then the other mom that showed up was a mom of multiples. She had a newborn and a 2-year-old, had a baby really young compared to all her friends, was the first one to have kids, first one to get married, that whole story. So they both were like, oh my gosh, I saw this. I knew I needed mom friends. Like, I had to come. I was so nervous. But they're like, I'm so glad we're here. When we go on a walk, it was the most amazing walk. We connected over things that I had been dying for my husband to connect with me with. But I actually got that connected with someone who was walking in the same season of life with me. And we were just talking about, the joys of newborns, the struggles of newborns. What's it like being a mom? How do I connect with my friends who aren't mothers now, and being able to connect with these women? And by the end of the walk, we were all 3 like, this was the best thing ever. Like, so excited. And so after we were like, all right, if it's just us who's going to continue to walk together, it's so good for our mental health. Let's continue to do it. So again, I made a video, threw it out into the wind, and into the wind, I mean into TikTok.
That is
TikTok's the new
or
wind.
The Times.
Oh yeah. Ari calls TikTok the Times. You got to explain it.
Yeah. If you're ever reading, an article, AKA a TikTok video, you're reading the Times. You're doing research on the Times. You're good. We see you.
We see you. So I made a recap video. I threw it out onto the Times, and presented another walk time and was like, okay, if it's just us 3, like, great. We got out of the house. It's going to be us 3 again. But second walk, 15 women showed up.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, oh my goodness, this is nuts. So after that, I knew that there was something going on. And so I went home and I prayed about it. And I was just like, all right, what is this? Like, what's going on? And I just felt this phrase kind of come over me. And I heard this phrase, it's time to serve the mothers. So we just took it as a mission of, if serving the mothers looks like providing a safe space to find community, that's what we're going to do. And that's what the collective is now. The collective is a safe place to find community, to find resources, to be the best mother, to have people around you to be the best mother, and then to help you raise the next generation. So that's a little bit about the collective. If this is your first time hearing about it, someone sent you this, now you kind of have an understand when you see all those recap videos all over Instagram or TikTok. That is how the collective started. We're now in 80 cities officially, hoping to launch another 75 before the end of the new year. And end of the new year would be coming into 2023. So, Ari, I actually met you at one of my walks. So you got to tell the story of actually how we met, because I think it's so fun.
Yeah, this was unique. Meeting at a walk. I mean, first of all, if any of you are nervous to attend a walk, I was there. Like, we live in a land of very beautiful people, and people looked amazing on those walks, and I was very intimidated, and I chose to come. I came with a friend, and it was incredible. I mean, Jamie was our host, so that's, amazing. I made some of my best mom friends at that first walk, not knowing that they were going to be my best mom friends. That happened later. But Jamie and we crossed paths, and I was like, there's something there. I don't think you know this yet, but you're going to be my friend. We are going to walk through motherhood together. And so we just kept running past each other, beginning of the walk, end of the walk. And I just had it in my head.
Let me just tell you how creepy I was. She already tells it like so nicely, but really what happened is that was probably like my third or fourth walk at this time. And I hadn't had any twin moms yet. You guys don't even know. Ari's a twin mom. She's like this BA boy-girl twin mom, just like shows up, will grab a third baby. Like, that's the type of woman she is. Like, she'll have both her babies and then be like, let me hold yours. And I'm like, how are you doing this? It is like amazing. So that's how she was. She just showed up as herself. And every time we would cross paths during the walk, I kept just looking at her and being like, you are so cool. Like, you're so cool. You're so cool. And I probably sounded like so creepy and weird. And eventually I just knew in my heart, I'm like, dang, there's something about this girl that I'm so attracted to, of how she just walks out motherhood, that I just wanted to know her more. So that's really how me and Ari met. But Ari, how'd you actually find out about the walks?
Oh, so my sister-in-law sent me, I think it was Instagram, maybe it was TikTok, the walk that you guys were doing, free blowouts, not the diaper blowouts, ladies, but the blowouts for your hair. And I love blowouts because my hair is thick and it's a mess to do myself. So I was like, oh my goodness, I was traveling. I reached out, not knowing that it was Jamie behind the Mom Walk DMs, but I slid into the DMs and I said, hey, I'm so sorry I can't make this walk. I will be at the next one. And I showed up. I actually showed up with my husband because it was the first time I'd left the house by myself with the twins. So I was like, please come and stay nearby in case shit hits the fan. And excuse my language, but when you have two young babies, it happens. So, my husband dropped me off and we got set up. And then that's how it all started.
I love it. It's really neat. It's really crazy. With me, I had no idea how people find out about this. Like I said, like I threw it out into the wind on TikTok, but I'm also a really chatty person. And Ari was even saying something. We had coffee this morning for a little business meeting. We're both the type of people who just start talking to anyone. So I have women that come to my walks that I've met at Nordstrom because I commented on their outfit. Actually, side note, my best friend now, how we became best friends is because she was wearing the cutest jean jumpsuit I've ever seen. And jumpsuits are kind of my thing. And it was her first day in America. She's from Australia. And I commented on her jumpsuit. And then I gave her my number. And I was like, hey, I know you don't have a car. So if you ever need a ride, call me. I know that sounds like so creepy and weird. But 7 years later, she's my best friend. I introduced her to her husband. And she also has, we had babies 6 months apart. So it worked out really well. So it's really fun hearing about how you found out about the podcast, how people show up, about the walks, and just the whole movement of the collective. It's really fun. because I can guarantee you if it came from me and Ari, it was probably really untraditional.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was telling Jamie this morning, if you came to my baby shower, I was like, how'd you meet Ari? At Whole Foods? How'd you meet Ari? At the farmer's market? Like, we're just here. We're here to be your village women. So come find us.
Yeah, come find us, or probably we're going to come find you and like pull you with us.
Yep.
But the collective is really, really fun. If you haven't made it to a walk yet, I highly encourage it. These podcasts are going to hopefully be what you're going to listen to on the days that you don't have a walk. Maybe your city doesn't have a walk yet. So you're like, dang it, I want the collective to be in my city. I just don't have a capacity to be a host. Really what we need for a walk to start in a city is a host who can volunteer that time and be the representative on behalf of the collective. So if you don't have one yet and you want to apply, go to our website. We have an ambassador form. We do informational calls. We'll help you get started. We'll set you all up with everything. But in the meanwhile, we hope that these podcasts really just fill your soul and connect you to motherhood and us be your virtual village. But we really would love for you to find that community in person, just because it makes such a difference if you know someone 5 minutes down the street and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going insane. Can you please just come like watch my baby for 5 minutes so I could take a shower? Or, hey, I'm struggling with teething. Do you have any recommendations? And you're able to see things in person. We really, really drive for that in-person connection, but we know that's not always possible because motherhood is hectic. So our desire is to do this podcast so then you guys can have that virtual connection on the days that walks aren't happening. So again, go to the momwalkcollective.com. There's all the information there to kind of figure it all out.
Absolutely. Okay, Jamie, I have a question that I think people are dying to know. Why do you think that this blew up as rapidly as it did?
I was actually asked this the other day. We have a fun episode coming out on national TV that you guys will probably get to see. It's coming out, little plug there, like, hey, national TV. But I think there's this movement of women wanting to be vulnerable and feeling connected within their vulnerability in a new season of life. So there's this one thing where mothers have to be strong and courageous and, that mother bear feeling. But anyone who's become a mom, you don't know what it's like until you're a mom. And so many people can prep you. So many people can encourage you. They could give you insight, but you don't feel the weight of motherhood until you're holding your child in your arms. And that vulnerability of this is the best, hardest thing I've ever been through. I think so many women are looking to feel seen by. And what the collective has done is has allowed the safe place for mothers to be in the best place, but also the hardest place at the same time, where they're able to share the excitement and the victories with other moms, but also have that safe place to be like, I don't know what I'm doing in this area. I have no idea what my son needs when he's up at 2 a.m. and I know he's full and I changed his diaper. And is he colicky? What's colic? Is he teething? How do I know he's teething? Does he have a tongue tie? Like areas like that you just can't prepare yourself for. This space of the collective has really been able to give mothers that aspect, as well as then what you're seeing on social media. I mean, there's totally FOMO effect when all of a sudden you're sitting at home, a mom who hasn't had any adult conversations, and you're scrolling through TikTok or you're scrolling through Instagram and you're like, oh my gosh, I recognize that woman. Like we went to school together. Where is she doing this? Wow, this looks so fun. I want to be there. And so there's this excitement of I'm getting out of the house. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to make mom friends. If it's weird, if it's uncomfortable, I want to find my village because it's so much better doing it together than doing it solo. And I think that alone has just created so much growth. But I would love to hear your perspective on it because I know so many people have this, why they're attracted and why they think it's blown up so much. That's kind of my thought. Like I selfishly just met a need in my own life of I need that safe place. And I know other people go to the collective for different reasons. So what do you think? Why do you think it blew up? What do you think it grew so quickly? Why Give me your head on it.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. And I think one of the major things that come to mind is it's really a place for us to come and connect as mothers. Whether you are a mother of a newborn, a mother of toddlers, mother of like older kids, it's a place where you can feel seen and loved and connected to, and there's no commitment. That's what's incredible is like, we're not here to show up to a class that we're paying for. And if we don't get value out of it, we're frustrated. Like, we're literally here just to make friends. And so I think it takes down all these barriers and makes us feel vulnerable enough to say, hey, I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and say hi to this mom. And like, we don't know each other, but her kid's cute and she's cute. So let's be friends. Let's try. And sometimes you walk next to a mom and that's not your best friend, and that's okay. But you'll most likely find like at least one, if not multiple, that you connect with on a deeper level. And that was my experience. You know, I was able to meet Jamie. I was able to meet my friend Cody, and we connected. Not at like, we connected the first walk, but then like we connected on social media, and I saw her son. I was like, hey, let's go to the beach. Let's go do this. Like it just broke down barriers. And just like Jamie said, we're in a place where we really want to connect. We don't want to feel alone. And maybe your friends don't have kids at this point and you're the first one. And so it really helps to have somebody in the thick of it, or a couple of years down the road to kind of help you through the thick.
Yeah. It's spot on. What would you say is probably your favorite moment? We'll kind of wrap up on this, and then we're going to just leave you guys hanging for all the other fun podcasts to come. But let's end this one off on probably your favorite story about the collective, either a walk you've been to or an impact you think it's had. What's been your favorite part so far?
Okay, I can speak from my own experience, but just last week I was on a text thread that I just felt like this is why the collective is here. A couple of moms were on this thread, and one had like a really rough day. Their son just cried all day long. She had done everything. Her husband was, working later unexpectedly. Just because he works in the hospital, and sometimes that happens. And so the other moms on that text thread just jumped in. We jumped in and just said like, hey, you don't have to do this alone. Like send me your address. I can show up and help you. Like, you do not have to like go through 12 hours of this by yourself. So that's painful. That is so painful. And so I think, you're going to develop friendships through these walks that are going to go that extra mile. What about you, Jamie?
It's so good. Honestly, it's so fun. Like, I've met, one of the things that someone said to me since I've started the collective is they're like, dang, you're thriving. I kind of have these high expectations for big events where, and this is just like part of my personality, but I used to hype up like every little thing to like create a memory that lasts forever. And it was like just a big deal. And probably a year or so ago, obviously we're coming out of the pandemic. Even though that season I still had my friends close, it just felt very empty in a sense. The like transition period of becoming a motherhood, like pregnancy, and I don't know, pregnancy was really hard for me, and we'll talk about that in a later episode. But I threw this Christmas Halloween cookie exchange party, and I love throwing events. Like, my background before I did marketing was in event coordinating. And I invited all these people that I would normally do life with. And it's way different in other states, but in California, you have to remind people like 50 times that you invited them to something. It's so dumb. But I sent out all my invites like a month prior, reminded them 2 weeks later, reminded them a week later, reminded them 2 days later, like, hey, I'm having a cookie party. Got everything ready. The day came and not a single woman showed up. And I was like low key, like it was like such a hard time being pregnant. No one showed up. Like, so many people had communicated they were coming. And so I just didn't even know what this season of life would look like. If I'm like, well, if pregnancy looks like this, like what is motherhood going to look like? And so when I started the collective, the fact that 2 people showed up, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. But I'd probably say one, like I have to say, like I've met some of the most amazing people like you. There's other moms that I'm like now consistently doing life with, and I'm walking them through, or we're walking with each other through other things outside of motherhood within marriage and hobbies and passions and just the whole dynamic of everything. And that's been really cool. But I feel like when you're no longer trying to survive, you have an opportunity to like thrive. Like there's survival and then there's creation. And if you're trying to survive, you can't have any space to create. There's nothing that's going on because you're waking up every day being like, I just need to make it till I could fall asleep again because I'm literally surviving. Where I feel like since the collective has started, I'm really actually starting to create and thrive in my life because these needs in my life has been met through simply finding community. So one of my favorite stories from the collective has been this one mom who is the sweetest human that I have met. She is just such a dream. But after the first walk that she attended, she sent me a text message through the DMs on the Instagram page afterwards. She said this phrase to me. She goes, I cannot thank you enough for starting the collective. I'm a single mom, and not one person asked me if I was a single mom. They asked me, how's motherhood? How are you doing? How's life going? And they saw her in the same season that she was in. And that made her feel so safe. And time again, every time she comes to the walk, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. I feel so empowered. This is so amazing. And that right there is one of the things that drives me with the collective is whatever type of mom you're in, whatever season you're in, this is a place for you. The collective is that safe place for you to find those friends, to not have preconceived and want to know the history and X, Y, and Z. And that can come with choice when you want to share it with whoever, but it's a safe place just to come and talk about, oh my gosh, my son had a blowout on the way here and I had to pull over and change him on the side of the road and I didn't bring an extra change of clothing. And do I need to get a new diaper size? Do I need to try a new diaper? You guys know the whole talk, but that right there has just been so incredible. It's one of my favorite things about the collective is just moms coming and just, they know you're a mom. It's so cool. So to wrap things up, Ari, what do you feel is just the power of moms coming together? And then can you let everyone know, again, how they can get involved, where they can find a walk, what that all looks like?
Awesome. Yeah. The power of moms coming together is incredible. And I think there are very few places where you can be completely vulnerable. And when you're talking to another mother, she's been through it. She knows. And nothing is going to surprise you anymore. You're just like, yeah, that was me last night. Like, I love you. Like, we're learning. Dude. That's what Jamie says. We're learning.
We're learning. Actually, I have to tell a quick story. There was a mom that had an incident where her son fell off the bed. And she's so nervous to come because it happened the night before a walk. And she, at the end of the walk, finally opened out of like, I was so nervous because we were in the ER actually all night. And It was funny because the girl we were walking with was like, dude, that literally happened to me last week. And she's like, really? And it's like, yeah. So it's spot on. Everyone's like, oh, we've been there. Yep, we get it.
Just normalizes it. You're not a bad mom. Things happen. I mean, we got stories to tell and you'll hear them on this podcast. But to wrap things up, if you guys are not currently joining us on a walk, you can find your walk closest to you on our website and then search the Instagram page for your area and they'll share when their next walk is, where it is, what time it is, all the details. Click around on our website. There's fun stuff on there. Like we have our preferred products that we use, but we also just want to be a resource for you because the products that we love, you may not love. The things that, we use for sleep, you may not use for sleep. And we totally get that. This is a non-judgmental place. Motherhood is just, we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
it can't be in a box, you know? If
No.
it's like, oh, I have to be a mother this one way. Like, I'm sorry, get out of here. We love you, but, you know, we're not trying to keep up with the Joneses. We're just literally trying to give you, hey, these are things that we love. Here's the things that we could provide for you. Here's resources. Hope you love it. So check out the Mom Walk Collective podcast and come back for our next podcast. We're going to talk about Ari's birth story and what it's like being a twin mom. So we love you, Mama.
We love you, Mama. Take care.